What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about the fourth book in the School for Good and Evil series, Quest for Glory by Soman Chainani. So I've said this before. I am a huge fan of the School for Good and Evil series. I read the main three books a couple of times. I was really into them, and I remember when Quest for Glory came out, and I remember looking out of the bookstore and going, why? Because the ending of The Last Ever After is so good. It wraps everything up. Everything is in a nice little bow. So I was like, why? Why are we continuing on with this story? But upon this reread, I was like, I really want to go in. I want to read the spinoffs. I want to see what's going on. And honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised. Quest for Glory takes place about 6 months after the events of The Last Ever After. So we've got Sophie being the Dean of Evil. We've got Agatha and Tedros in Camelot trying to bring it back to its former glory, but things aren't exactly going the way that they had planned. They're fourth year students now, and when you're a fourth year at the School for Good and Evil, that means you go into the woods on your quest. So technically what they are doing now is fulfilling that requirement, and it seems like they're succeeding, but it doesn't feel like they're succeeding. And the reason is because, as they uncover, there is a new threat in the woods that is threatening not just the balance between good and evil, but it's threatening what actually is true versus what is lies. What I really liked about this is that since we do have a focus on Tedros starting to become the king of Camelot, with its coronation and things like that, what we are seeing is some more being pulled from those Arthurian legends, which I really liked. This one in particular, we are very focused in on the story of the lion and the snake, which was really cool. And I like that this does feel bigger than the fairy tale of, the tale for Sophie and Agatha. This does feel like a bigger tale. This does feel like a bigger quest for glory. And so I like that Soman Chainani was able to do that. I was very worried that we were going to be retreading a lot of the same ground. And in some ways we are. I can't really talk about that without getting into spoilers, but for the most part, it does feel really fresh. It does feel really interesting. And I really like that he went back in and he's like, yes, these characters had a happily ever after, but life is not just magically going to make sense once you've had your happily ever after, even if you're in a fairy tale. And that's the story that he wanted to set out and tell. Overall, I did really enjoy this book. I do think it was too long. I felt like it made sense in certain aspects. When we're introduced into the story, we're actually being told from a lot of different perspectives rather than just Sophie and Agatha. We do get to see some Tedros. We actually get to see some Hort, which is interesting. We're introduced to a new reader character named Nicola. But about halfway through, it does become the Sophie and Agatha show again, and Tedros is kind of left off in the background. We don't really know what's happening there. Hort really doesn't get a perspective at all anymore. And so when we got to the ending, I was liking the story. I was liking where it was going, but it didn't feel like the same setup that the beginning of the book promised. So I do think it kind of got lost along the way, and part of that I think is just because it was so long and the pacing was so off. So ultimately, I am giving this book an A-. I think it was really good, and I do think if you like the School for Good and Evil, this is a really good continuation of that, and I am excited to see more. Definitely not without its faults. I still am questioning, where are we going? But I am excited to see what that's going to be, and I hope that the ending of this trilogy overall is just as good as The Last Ever After. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to Top Books with me every week. That's everything I got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!